Hey everybody, JC Peretz here, founder of Trend Labs, and we're here on Stock Market TV talking with my friend, Mr. Herb Greenberg. Welcome, sir.
JC Perutz, it is a pleasure being here with you on this fine day.
Herb Greenberg's a little humble sometimes, and he cringes when I call him a legend. But I mean, guys, seriously, if you're listening out there, you're wondering what we're talking about. I'm just always interested in what's going on in the mind of a one Herb Greenberg. Has been around for decades, has seen it all. And when your spidey senses, start perking up, I want to know what you're interested in. I want to know what you're writing about. You look at markets completely different than I do. Folks, if you know me, you know that I am a hardcore technician. I am a practitioner of the mathematics of the market, and I focus on just that alone. Herb Greenberg could not be more different. And I absolutely love that. And then, so if you were able to catch us last week when Herb and I were talking about, current red flags and how AI right now, there are some stocks that, really have the potential to get crushed. There's a ton of risk in some specific names. Herb Greenberg was kind enough to come here today and actually give us one of these names today, a name that he just put out on his red flags alerts. And he's going to walk us through exactly what's going on with this company, what the problem is, and it's AI related. So thanks to AI, Mr. Herb Greenberg, you tell me that there is no better time ever in your entire career to hunt for red flags. Is that true?
Well, this has never been a better time than right now, just because of everything going on in the world. But when we look at the markets, and oh my God, how can you not respect the risk in this market? So, JC, as I go through it and I look at different areas where there is more risk than others, there are some areas you can find more that people maybe aren't paying quite the kind of attention to they should be.
We're going to get to the trade in a minute, but I just want to, for those of you who were not able to be with us last week, we had an unbelievable conversation, and Herb really explained and answered all of my personal questions, and certainly for the audience. So I just want to reiterate, Herb, like in 30 seconds, can you explain to the folks, what happened with this OST? What happened with this Park Hall Biological? These companies fell, literally went to zero overnight. It was unbelievable. Can you talk about what happened here?
Yeah, they were just part of these major scams that were out there that were being perpetrated through Facebook and Instagram, but ultimately creating these WhatsApp stock buying clubs where they'd give you great insider information on the next big stock, and they'd suck in people from all over the world. I've heard from people from all over the world, and they'd bring you in and convince you needed to buy this. It was like a modern day online in the club pump and dump. It was pump and dump on steroids relative to what happened in the old days. And they take
using
people like
celebrities,
David Costin
using AI, right?
Pardon?
Basically pretending to be celebrities using AI.
Right? They would take someone like David Costin, who you see here from Goldman Sachs. They would sort of create a video with him, with his voice recreated on AI, and he would be inviting you into his club. And people actually fell and fall for this, even though they would come in and they would end up buying, and then there would be the ultimate boom, rug pull. And those people would literally look in the bag and there was nothing left.
This is as old as time. As somebody who has studied markets going back to the 1800s and early 1900s, there were so many scams. There were so many pump and dumps. This is as classic as it gets. And with the evolution of technology, there's just new ways to do this. But it's the same old story. You saw it in OST. You saw it in PHH. You saw it in other names as well. Just absolutely fascinating. And you were right there, Herb. Kudos to you talking about it in real time. But what we're all here interested in is what the next one is, right? So this is great and everything. The stocks got crushed, terrific. Now, what's the next one? Why are you flagging these red flagging these two AI losers?
Let me first say, the reality is most of these that you flag, they're not scams. They're not frauds. What they are, though, is they're companies where there are issues, there's disruption, like what I call these two likely AI losers. These are companies that are in regular businesses. They are being disrupted by AI. This is the stock chart of this of one of the companies I talked about. They're being disrupted by AI. AI has come in and it's having an impact in their business. And as it has that impact in their business, the companies themselves sit there and go, hey, we're going to be okay. We're going to work this out. This is actually going to be good for us. And you know what? I heard this years ago because I'm a legacy newspaper man. That is exactly what happened in the newspaper industry. And everyone, people were caught flat-footed there because they had so much great cash flow. Well, the same thing is happening here with some of these companies that their business, and we've heard a lot about this, by the way, disruption via AI. We hear it, we've heard it. You can see this is one of these companies. You can start seeing it play out here. This is a segment.
Walk me through what's happening here, Herb. What's happening
what
here?
you're watching, this is revenue growth for the segments of one of the companies I talked about, and you can just see what's happening. You can see it. Picture tells 1,000 words. You can just see the business starting to slide down, and you can see most of the company. This is at least half the companies below the zero line, where in terms of revenue, and you can see it starting to play out. And as I start looking at the company, I just start shaving through the various aspects like this. This is organic growth. Look at the organic growth of the company. That's not what I would call, since Q3 of 2022, a picture perfect company. It's a company that is absolutely starting to show itself as being challenged, JC.
All right, so our friends over at All Star Charts put together this chart. This is a chart of the stock that Herb is about to show you guys. One of his 2 red flags alerts on AI. He's about to reveal the name in just 1 minute. But before we reveal the actual name of what it is, let's take a step back for a second and let's reiterate the process, right? Because, you could give him the fish or you could teach him how to fish. And, for me, I like the fish. I'm with you on this, right? But I want to learn the process. And I know that there's a lot of people in the audience that certainly want to learn as well. Let's talk about the 3 things that, you have as essentially a common denominator in, what you call not a traditional system or a traditional strategy, because every opportunity is different, right? Every situation where you find risks, by definition, is very different, and I get that. So you're talking about structural headwinds in the company. You're talking about your network, the people that you talk to, that you developed over your legendary career, right? As he blushes every time I say legend, but that's really the truth. And then, your ability to be able to wrap your head around everything. So if you wouldn't mind, Herb, for the folks, can we walk through each of these 3, and then we'll talk about the name and why you red flagged it. Talk to us about the types of structural headwinds that you look for in companies.
Structural headwinds you can start seeing in various ways. You can see some of it being built by management that may be too complacent, that may not be the right management for a company. You can see it in various governance issues. Some people say, who cares about governance? But actually, you're looking for little crumbs. You're looking for dots that you can start connecting. Some companies have all of them. You can look at cap table issues. You can look at various things that are going to suggest that the company is losing its mojo. Deceleration of growth. That's sometimes so obvious, it's easy to miss because it's staring you in the face. If a company's revenue is just slowing and it's just a steps down, you have an issue, but then you start trying to double check it, triple check it. Where else do you see it in the financial statements? What's cash flow like? Is cash flow real? Is cash flow free cash flow? Is it growing? What's happening to net debt? Is net debt growing? What does the company have in terms of its obligations? You can go through this until you're crazy yourself because you're trying to figure it out. But structural headwinds come many different ways, but it is an interesting way where you can find an idea where a company is at risk. I always say one thing you should always be careful about is when any idea has to do with something someone can't control the outcome of. So I always say, if an investment thesis hangs on courts, the outcomes of courts, Congress, or any regulatory body, good luck. That's where I've seen the smartest people, long and short, absolutely get blasted. No different than biotechs. Remember phase 3, everybody's so smart. They know what's going to happen in phase 3. They know a doctor who knows a doctor who knows a doctor. It's like going to the racetrack. The reality is these are the areas where you can get it remarkably right or horrifically wrong. That's nothing more than a gamble. So I always say, for me, stay away. Even for me looking for an idea, sometimes I'll stay away from those if that is the exact thesis.
Herb, one thing I really love about you is, you're like me, where, it's a lifestyle. This is what you do. This is the types of things that you think about when you're going on walks or you're in the car wash. The other day, you told me you were having a meeting in the on the way to the car wash or on the way to the doctor or in your office. Like you say, if you want to take notes, you want to make sure you're in front of your computer. Your ability to love what you do and the fact that I know that that goes a long way in me respecting somebody's work. Like the fact that this is more of a lifestyle than like a job or an obligation. Like I know that you're real. There's additional context for me, folks. And if you're out there listening, this is a great lesson. Like when you're listening to somebody and what they have to say, and you are and you're using that to make investment decisions and there's money involved, like why are these people telling you this? Like why are these people on TV saying this? Why are they writing this? Like what is their motive? Who are these guys? And someone like Herb, that this is a lifestyle, to me, I want to know what he has to say, right? So tell me a little bit about this network and how you use that to your advantage.
The network, which is always growing, is something I really developed over the past few decades. It's just people I have talked to who are genuinely great sources of ideas, long and short. And they're people I've gotten to know. I know how good their work is. We talk. They often talk to me just so they can brainstorm something because I will challenge them. They all know that I'm going to start asking them a lot of questions and really challenging their ideas. But the network basically is as we talk, I know there are certain people who can actually call me or ask me if I have a minute and we talk, and I will stop everything listening to them because their information is often so good. So I still have to do my own work. I still have to, try to just dig in and see if what they're even saying makes sense. I have to really try to push back a lot. But these are various people. They can be hedge fund managers. They can be portfolio managers. They can be analysts, former analysts. These are people who manage their own money. Over time, they're independents. There are people out there who I just happen to know who they do their own thing, and again, over the years, I've gotten to know them. So the network is very important because that's what Wall Street is. Wall Street is bartering and trading ideas, and you then try to figure out which ones work for you. And that is a source of ideas for me. It's an important source, as are different screens and other stuff I may look at, trying to come up with something that grabs my attention.
It takes a wise man to know when to walk away. To know when, you can say, I don't understand this stuff. I don't have an edge here. My time is better spent elsewhere. And having this as one of your, common themes, you need to have an ability to wrap your head around it, right? You tell me that, you put in weeks or months of work into some of these, and, sometimes you just need to walk away, right?
If I don't like, first of all, the story, if it's either too hard or too boring, I just may say, you know what, there are better things to do. I've got to enjoy it. This is not drudgery for me. Let somebody else tackle that story. I've missed quite a few great ideas just because I wasn't interested. And that's the nature of the beast. This is me making my call. This is me. This is what I do for a living. So I like to enjoy it. When I sit down and I'm actually putting together the report that I'm writing, that's also part of the discovery. It's a very important part of the discovery process for me, is actually writing and putting it down, because that's when I'm starting to really start realizing what I don't know and whether the story makes sense, because I can end up killing something as I'm digging into it through the writing process. Look at this. Erie Indemnity. This is a company that is engaged in the insurance industry. I got into this one. I got into this one. So I was talking on my part of my network, and we were talking to one of my friends, and he said, have you looked at this one? Has one analyst covering it? Look at the stock going straight up. It was a story that I focused on. Two companies were the algos. These are companies driven by algos hanging on every headline, not because of what's really going on inside the business. And as you can see, what happens when you live and breathe and die by the algos? When the algos don't like what they see, it goes the other way. And as you can see, that's just what happened here.
No, timely move here. And did you mention that part of the reason that intrigued you was the name itself of the company, Indemnity?
No, but Indemnity I almost walked away. When I looked at it, this was a case where you think of the too hard pile. Erie Indemnity, an insurance company. Insurance is really hard. And so I look at this. What is Erie? I mean, in fact, think about it. It's regional even in its pull, because it's based in your backyard in Pennsylvania. And I just think that, I
live nowhere near Erie, though, Herb. I know for people in California, anything east of Nevada might as well be Europe. I get it. But listen, nice timely call here in the red circle where Mr. Herb Greenberg, put out the red flag alert, and you can see what Erie has done since. If you're interested in Herb's red flags, highly encourage you to check that out. Click the link below or the link in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Click the link below if you're watching on the site. The original price, $9.99 for the year, $2.99 for the quarter for Herb's red flags. This is a great deal, but today, guys, Herb has been nice enough to give us a tremendous discount, $4.99 for the year, $1.99 for the quarter to get Herb's red flags today. This is a massive discount. And of course, this comes risk-free. Everything that we do at Stock Market Media in general comes with a risk-free trial. So as somebody who likes favorable risk versus reward opportunities, and someone like Herb that's always thinking about the risks, this one has none, right? So this is a risk-free trial. Click the link below or click the link in the description if you are watching on YouTube. Herb, tell the folks what they get. They're getting the stocks. How often are they getting the stocks?
They're getting the stocks when I feel like I'm ready to give them the stocks. I write these things up because I don't believe in having a publishing schedule. I do not believe in doing something for the sake of doing it. That said, I am highly prolific. I love to write. I love to share what I know. I love to actually tell you increasingly what I am working on, even if I don't go the full distance, because you never know what is going to spark an idea. You never know where you're going to add value. You never know. You might put a red flag out there. Somebody else may go along it because they have a different view of the markets. That's what makes markets. So here, what I'm basically doing is I've decided to expand what I typically do, and we give you the steady stream of stocks because I do write a lot. I'm going to start doing a video that is the backstory of why I did that. I want to just be able to tell my readers straight up, this is how I got into this. I was talking to one of my friends, blah, 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 and just giving you a little bit of a backstory on it. I also want to have weekly office hours, meaning we'll have a video. You can come in and actually, not individually, but as a group, start asking me questions. Maybe I mentioned something about the report and you want to challenge me on it. Not that I'll necessarily have the answers to everything you ask, but I do enjoy engaging with my subscribers. It's something I've done my entire career, and I love that interaction. And every now and then, like I just recently did, I do a green flag. They come across from different, again, my network, and sometimes it's something I can't avoid not to do. I mean, this happened to come from somebody who is historically a short seller. This last one I did, fascinating idea. See how it does, but I laid it all out there, including the person's, ID. So it wasn't just something people thought was being forced.
No, Herb just put out a green flag. This is the red flag alerts. But when there's an opportunity from the long side, Herb will flag that. You actually just dropped one, so that's nice timing there. The weekly office hours is cool. Herb, I've seen a lot of the feedback from your subscribers, and your ability to teach them things on how to look at markets is something that consistently comes in. So you're putting together a video with each of the red flag alerts. That is fantastic. And so, guys, $4.99 for the year, $1.99 for the quarter. We are going to reveal the latest red flag alert on the AI stock. But Herb,
JC,
you're very...
I just got to say something to you, because this is something that I really get worked up about, and I feel really passionate about this, because even when I was doing long bias research, I'm drawn back to flying these red flags because it's kind of in my DNA. And I can tell you, in markets like this, to not respect the risk, to not pay attention to it, to not try to understand it is, I would say, just, it is foolhardy. I feel strongly that there is never, I feel like I'm doing this. As I say this, I say, God, I sound like such a salesman. This is what I believe. There's never been a better time to pay attention to the risks. We all know that there's a lot of stuff that's getting hyped up that will not continue to trade at those levels. And how you can't be aware of it, because there are a lot of people who've never seen stocks go down. They will learn it the hard way, and they will learn it the way everybody else has, including me and you, JC, that there's another side to this market.
Herb, I see it,
That's
man.
what I love to do.
Listen, I'm data driven. I'm out there, boots on the ground, analyzing sentiment. I'm doing the work. I got to tell you, They're launching more AI data center ETFs like every day. My spidey senses are going up also. I was talking to my smart friend Todd Sohn this morning. He was saying the same thing. He's like, there's a lot of these things going out. So, Herb saying that there's no better time, particularly in AI. I have a hard time disagreeing with that. So let's give the people what they want, Herb. Drum roll, please. What we're looking for, Herb, in a perfect world, we're looking at it for another iRobot, a stock that you red flagged before it got slaughtered. Another Solar Edge, a stock that you alerted with your red flags before it got slaughtered. All right, Omnicom, OMC. Why is this one next, Herb?
This one is just such almost a layup. You can see it in so many different areas, and
Wow, almost a layup. I like it.
Layup. All right, layup may be too harsh of a word because, as we all know, I never
give it to him. Give it to him, Herb. You hear that,
I never
folks?
tell people what to do. Look at this stock. You know what? Here's what's interesting. Omnicom is one of the world's largest advertising agencies. It is absolutely sitting in the crosshairs. You see this stock falling right here. You know what that is? That stock is falling after the company said it was going to acquire Interpublic, which is another one of its very big rivals. Don't go there. Don't go there. I have to just say this. It was going to do that. And as a result, now you're going to end up with what I like to call double trouble. The market tends to agree with that part. But now let's go on. What is Omnicom? If you go to the next slide, please. Look, this is the bull case. I like to give the bull case in these reports. I do.
No, I like that. I like that.
This is
to understand both sides. I appreciate
you got to show both sides because there are two sides to every story, and sometimes the bears and the bulls both get it wrong.
You hear that, folks out there listening? That's how to do it. You want to play devil's advocate. You want to play both sides. Put together the data, and then I love that, Herb.
The smartest people I've had in my entire career, the investors, the hedge fund managers, those folks. They will take the other side. They will look at the other side, sometimes re-underwrite their positions to decide whether I'm wrong or what I'm writing is wrong, or whether it gave them the heads up on something. Boy, thank you very much. It cuts both ways. Nobody's always right. Go on.
What's the bull case on Omnicom?
The bull case is what it says. It's a global advertising, full range advertising company, deep client relationships, integrative data-driven marketing capabilities, a long history. Look at that, 5,000 clients. How can they possibly be wrong? How can they possibly be wrong? I'll show you how they can be wrong. This is a quote. When I go through my process, I'm starting to look everywhere. I'm using AI. I'm just searching for anything. This quote lays up the story, and that is from the outgoing CEO of WPP Group, which is another very large advertising agency. He told this to CNBC, where he says, I think this AI disruption is unnerving investors in every industry, and it's totally, look at what he says, black and white, totally disrupting our business. So you can argue, oh, WPP is having problems, so that's a convenient scapegoat. Yeah, maybe it's real, but here, this is from Omnicom's CEO. Look what he said on a recent conference call. He goes, in terms of financial impact, this is a book yet to be written. I mean, think about it. He's starting to tell you. He's saying, we don't quite know how it's going to play out. And then he goes down, he says, this is all going to play out over the course of the next 24 to 36 months. Think about what's going on in that span of time. He's doubling the size of his business, or whatever the size Interpublic is. He's going to go through a major sort of trying to digest this big acquisition, put it all together while the disruption is going on in the marketplace. You could see what's going on right now before the full impact of AI. Look at this chart. This is Omnicom's segment sales. The green, not the green. The green they call experimental revenue. It's a small part of the business. But look at the red. The red line, that's their advertising business. That's the main business. And everything else, you can see, oh, it was good last quarter, but look how it's been going. It's been trailing down. It's been soft. And then as you start going through the numbers, you start seeing a story play itself out. I mean, this is a great chart because this is on the balance sheet. And it's where it's really starting to tell the story that there are real cracks beyond what you may not see in the other parts of the financial statements. Unbilled fees as a percentage of customer advances. It's basically saying they're having to do more for free. They're having to push out their billings so they do more for free, have to work harder to get paid. And you can see over the course of the past 3 years, that has doubled. And it's telling you there's a change in the business. And what it really is telling me is, JC, there is something happening here. And what it is, actually, I think it's pretty clear.
Um, Omnicom Group, one of the two AI stocks just dropped on the red flag alerts. Folks, that is Omnicom. Get all of the details at Herb's Red Flag Alerts. Click the link below or the link in the description if you're watching on YouTube. And also, you're going to get the second red flag alert in this AI space and get the full explanation as to why Herb is putting out the red flag on not just Omnicom, but the other one as well. $4.99 for the year, $1.99 for the quarter. Heck of a discount. And of course, risk-free. Herb Greenberg, it's all about risk versus reward. What do you say? Respect the risk? Is that what you say?
Respect the risk. You shouldn't. I come back to it. I'm sitting here watching this market play out, and I'm how can people not want to know why somebody is on the other side of the trade? Who is on the other side of the trade? What the risk is? No one's reading the financial statements anymore. You think other people go through the risk factors in the 10Qs and the 10Ks and see how they've changed and see what's taken repositioning? Because you know what? Sometimes we look at those things and people say, it's just boilerplate, Herb, especially with these new IPOs coming out, which, by the way, are likely going to be good fodder for me. Oh, it's just boilerplate. Guess what? Sometimes that boilerplate is there for a reason. And sometimes that boilerplate turns out to actually be what you wished you'd paid attention to. And so I'm trying to pick up those that actually where there really is something going on.
You know, Herb Greenberg, guys, I hope you were paying good attention there. Herb Greenberg said that this was such a great chart, brings out another chart. Do you see how the fundamental guys like their charts too? I hope you guys are paying attention. And Herb, I just want you to know, and the folks at home absolutely know this already, I love that you got so excited about a chart. I mean, technicians get made fun of for being chart monkeys, but, you're the chart monkey today, brother.
The first thing I do is pull up these charts because that tells me where I have to dig, how far I have to go, and it gives me a clue on whether it's worth wasting time on.
I appreciate that. Guys, get Herb Greenberg's red flag alerts in real time instead of after the fact, but in real time with the corresponding video. Herb Greenberg's office hours. And of course, he just dropped a green flag alert just now. So from the long side, take a look at that. $4.99 for the quarter or $4.99 for the year, $1.99 for the quarter. Herb Greenberg, I appreciate you being here. Folks at home, thank you for being here. You could be anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with us. And I want you to know we appreciate that for sure. Gene Gauthier on the ones and twos, Spencer Israel behind the scenes, Mr. Herb Greenberg. I am JC Perret signing off. Click the link below or click the link in the description if you're watching on YouTube. See you tomorrow.